Transcendentalism or Dark Romanticism? That is the question on all of our minds, isn't it? There are two camps, but only one of them can approach transcendence and learning in the most effective way. So, that's what I'm here to figure out. Which one does just that? Now, before I do, I think that I should give a brief description of each of the different camps. First, I'll speak about Transcendentalism. Transcendentalists basically believed that all people were essentially good, and that to truly find one's inner peace, you must seclude yourself from everyone and live out your days in the peace of nature. The main founders of this school of thought were people like Ralph Waldo Emerson and Henry David Thoreau. Now, the other camp that we have is Dark Romanticism. This is essentially the opposite of Transcendentalism. It gets more into the deeper, the darker, the sadder parts of life. People like Edgar Allan Poe, Emily Dickinson, Herman Melville, and Mary Shelley were the founders of this school of thought. Now, the main difference between these two schools of thought were, say, take this plant for example. You may have noticed that the plant is artificial, but it is a representation of nature nonetheless. So let us examine the plant from a transcendentalist's point of view. Beauty, nature, it's definitely speaking to me. Oh, yes, absolutely. Kindness, enlightenment. Now, let's analyze it from a dark romantic's point of view. Death, darkness. The plant will eventually die anyways, even though it's artificial. But there's still a beauty about its scary, menacing nature. A beauty that can only be found in its scary, menacing nature. Let's go over the definition of transcendence. Transcendence is an existence or experience beyond the physical level. Now, of course, the Dark Romantics are going to think that their school of thought approaches transcendence and learning in a much more effective way than the Transcendentalists. And the Transcendentalists are going to think that their school of thought approaches transcendence and learning in a much better way than Dark Romantics. But, after much research, I have determined that Transcendentalism does in fact approach transcendence and learning in the most effective way. Now let me explain why. The reason that I think Transcendentalism approaches transcendence and learning in the most effective way is because it talks about going out and being alone, getting rid of all the distractions. When you're trying to learn something new, if you've got tons of different things, noises, just all kinds of distractions going on around you, how can you really learn it? You're so distracted. But when you're out in the wilderness, in the quiet, in the peace, you can just focus and learn. One of the things about Transcendentalism that I really connected with was their promotion of creative thinking. I believe that creative thought is essential in life. If everyone's forced to do the same things, think the same things, and everyone's the same, it's just so dull. You really can't learn anything new because everyone's doing the same things that they've always been doing. In Transcendentalism, you can really discover truth for yourself. Transcend, if you will, in your mind. And that is why I think that Transcendentalism supports transcendence and learning in the most effective way.